Have you ever been on a date that didn't just make you question your sexuality, but if there was cameras watching? I'm gonna help you imagine it. Okay, picture this. It's February 14th, Saturday, a beautiful day outside, a little cold, but it's fine, like, it's all good. Your friend was over last night. We all had fun. I had a Valentine's night before. It's fine and dandy. This boy you've been talking to wants to go on a date. Okay, we scheduled this date before. Like, this is nothing new. It's supposed to be like 6 o'clock or like 7 o'clock. A little later than like I expected, but no big deal, It's fine. So during the day, it's like really chill. Like, he doesn't text me at all, which is like, well, like, you're going on a date with me. You keep on calling it a date. We're 16 years old. Are we 40 years old? I don't know. I don't even know why it's called a date in the first place. That's like besides the point. He doesn't text me the entire day, which is fine, until like 6:30. And he's like, hey, like, we actually need to move this date till 7:30 because my ceiling light just broke and I cannot get there at 7 o'clock. His ceiling light breaking was a little strange, but honestly, absolutely something I can look past. Like, not even a big deal at all. I said, okay, it's fine. Like, a little weird. Like, my stomach was hurting a little bit, so like, it was fine. Like, I need some extra time anyway. It's like 7:20, and I live like not that far away from like where we were going. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave the house now. Just let me know when you leave, because like, like, I don't want to be there too early because you live 40 minutes away, and that's like a little crazy. So I already knew that I was gonna be earlier than him. And by my mistake, he sent me a picture of his car, or a car, like the outside of it. And my, I guess, stupid mind assumed that, he was going to get in his car. And it was like 7:20 something. So I was like, you know what? Like, he'll get there a little later than I will. But I live 10 minutes away. He lives 40 minutes away. I'll just wait for a little bit. He didn't get there till 8:30 in the night. This is already an hour and a half after we said we were going to go on a date anyway. And it was because other ceiling light broke. When he finally gets there, I've already had like 5 kids by now, and I'm already married, so it doesn't even matter. So he's like, oh, I have something for you. And like, I joined the wait list, I don't know, like an hour and a half ago at 7 o'clock when the original date was, because like, he said that his mom made reservations to this place. This was Olive Garden. Olive Garden does not have reservations. I don't know what the flip he was talking about. This boy wanted to go to Olive Garden so bad. We got kicked off the wait list the first time, and he was like, I think we should just get back on the wait list. But anyway, he gives me flowers and like Hershey's candy, which is really sweet of him, and like, he didn't have to do that. I mean, it was Valentine's Day, so it was low-key bare minimum, but also like, that was sweet of him. Like, it was sweet. I'm not gonna like degrade that. That's the least of my worries on this entire endeavor. So as we are waiting, because we already got off the waitlist once, because we were taking too long outside as he was giving me flowers, even though I told me how to get in, we will stay in my car, nothing crazy. I'm not like one of those like weird people. It was just sitting in my car. It was like so normal. It wasn't creepy or crazy. I just didn't want to sit in his car, and it was too busy to sit in Olive Garden. So we're like sitting there, and I'm sitting there comfortably. Obviously, it's my car, and he's sitting there like this. I'm not gonna touch you. You need to calm down. He was so nervous too, and that's like cute, like a boy is like nervous, like, oh yeah, it's like fine, like, but this is not even his first date. He dated a girl for 3 years. Like, are we new to this? That's my first date ever. How am I less nervous than you? Here he is, sitting down in my car, like I'm about to deflower him, and he's just making it was so awkward. Like, there was no conversation being made until there was like a person of color, and he was, casual, like nothing crazy. He was just putting his baby in the car or putting something else in the car. I think there was like a girlfriend or something on the other side of the car, like getting in, and this boy like reaches in his pocket like a normal person when they have to get their car keys out of their pocket. Oh my gosh, this boy full on flinches out. I was like, whoa, like, what are we flinching at right now? My fight or flight had not kicked in quite yet. I was so confused with what the danger was. He said, and I quote, "I thought that guy was gonna pull out a gun." You what? Why the hell would that guy pull out a gun? So that was a really weird thing of you to say. Like, why did you say that? He said that he had really bad PTSD for something that happened like a couple years ago that was like involving a shooting. So why did that trigger you? Anywho, let's move on from that, because that was the whole thing. It's like 9 something at this point, and we got kicked off the wait list again. So I'm like, listen, dude, it's almost 9:30. We just need to stop. Like, we need to go somewhere else. It's not that deep. Olive Garden, we don't need to go to Olive Garden. Like, it's not that good, I promise. Like, I don't even want to go there in the first place. I told him I didn't want to go there in the first place to even listen. So I was like, listen, I don't want to go here. It's like, fine. Like, we've been waiting now for so long. Let's just go to like Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, anything else that's literally walkable distance from our car. Don't feel comfortable getting in our cars. So we go into the restaurant for the third. Well, this is like the 3rd time we're trying to get on the wait list, and they sit us probably because it's like 9:30 at night and they close in like an hour, and why on earth would anybody else be there? I don't know why we got kicked off the wait list. That's like a whole other thing, but it's really not that big of a deal. And we're sitting there, like, talking very casually. There's really not a lot to talk about because this was a very awkward experience. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom to go wash my hands, mostly because I take my Invisalign out, and that was really embarrassing to do in front of people. I wasn't gonna be like, I'm just gonna need you to close your eyes real quick. I'm about to do something very vulnerable. Anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and he was like, okay, I'll go too. But then, like, as we're getting up, I'm like, okay, maybe I should leave my, like, purse here, because you know what? Actually, I think I'm just gonna stay right here because I just think that that's a better idea. Okay, that's fine, but why are you so nervous about it? And again, he was just a really nervous guy, so, like, I gotta cut him some slack. He was just a really nervous guy. Server comes out, she's like, hey guys, what can I do for you today? What can I get for you? Like, how are you doing? Very sweet lady, and he's, like, mean to her. He's talking about, like, how he'd been waiting for so long. He orders the breadsticks, the salad, like, the whole, like, Olive Garden experience, and gets his Alfredo, whatever, you know, his noodles. Keep that in mind. So I get back, and he goes to the bathroom, and as he's in the bathroom, our food comes out, and the lady's like, how much cheese do you think he wants? And I was like, girl, I don't fucking know. He just put, like, 5,000 pounds of cheese that, like, he literally saw world hunger on top of our Olive Garden salad, so I don't know how much cheese he wants. So he comes back, and he's like, oh, our food's out. Good observation, buddy. Look at you. You're getting rich right Haskell. Did I forget to mention that throughout this entire date, he was, like, texting his mom, but, like, he kept saying, don't worry, I'm not texting my friends, I'm just texting my mom, don't worry, like, throughout the entire day. And I was like, whoa, like, buddy, I don't care that you're texting, like, your friends. Why the flip are you texting your mom? Like, she's not here. Like, so anywho, he also keeps mentioning throughout the entire day that all his brothers have girlfriends. And I'm like, I am not your next victim. I am not your girlfriend. I am not joining the family lineage. At this point in the day, everything's just kind of unserious, and I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm, like, laughing at him. I'm like, don't worry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just thinking about something funny. Like, it's not you, it's me. Oh my gosh, it gets worse. It gets worse, because why would it get better? I don't know. It gets worse. Anyone who knows me, and it's, like, one of my friends, or just anybody who knows me, knows that I can't do loud chewing, I can't do loud breathing, I can't do anything that's, like, triggering or overstimulating in any way. That's a personal flaw that I'm working on, but that doesn't matter, okay? So we get our food. Let me just get an example here. Okay, so this is our plate, okay? This will be the breadstick, and this is the fork. Most of this date, this boy, we didn't really talk as much because of how much he was, like, eating and how much of the time he was eating. He was, like, hunched over his food, eating like this, okay? Yeah, this is his fork, don't worry. But then he started eating with his breadstick, mouth wide open. Ah! I've never been so triggered in my life. And I was like, So anyway, his terrible eating habits, and he kept on, like, looking up and looking at me. Whenever I would, like, talk to him, he'd be like this, with the food all over his mouth. He'd be like, this is Allie. She's heard this story the most out of anybody I've known. Like, she just has heard this traumatic flashback PTSD, like everything. Anyways, I'm, like, asking him, like, hey, like, do you have any family, like, around, you know? Because, like, I don't have family around. And it's, like, a real question. Like, do you have family in the area, you know? Just in case we end up getting married and having kids, like, will they have grandparents near? First he tells me yes, and then 5 minutes later he says no, which is, like, fine because, like, obviously you have, like, a little brain fog because you're eating like you're an animal. So I would assume your memory would be, like, one, too. Anyway, so he's like, yeah, my grandma used to live in, like, this area. Honestly, like, the way he was describing where his grandma lived, like, it wasn't that bad. It was just, like, a place you can't go outside at night because you probably will get shot. But that's not where this gets bad. I'm gonna say these words how he said them, so just, like, I don't know if I can say this. But he was like, yeah, and there were a lot of, like, black kids in the area. And I was like, what? Because he, like, whispered this. It's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, there were, like, black kids. He said that they accepted him for who he was, and he accepted them for, like, they were. You're playing basketball with them. This is not a gang initiation. I was just, like, really lost why this had relevance. But also I realized that he's, like, not from anywhere where you see sunlight, which does not justify his actions. He's clearly very, I don't know if it's, like, prejudice against people of color or racist. I don't know what it is, but just, like, a whole bunch of I don't want to be around it. And I was just like, wow, like, okay, that was really weird of you to say, like, why'd you say that? And then I was like, you know what? It's already a nightmare. It can't get worse. We're eating, you know, as you do when you're at a restaurant. And other than his, like, bad eating habits, he was like, do you eat a lot? And I was like, wow, that's a weird question for you to ask. He was like, no, not in the weird way, but, like, do you eat food? Do I look like I don't eat food? No, I don't look like I don't eat food. I was like, yeah, I guess I like food. What girl wants to be asked on the first date if they like eating food? Anyway, like, the date ended very shortly after that, and I gave him a hug, and I said bye, and it was just terrible. But he has indeed been unadded, so it's, like, fine. We also had to take, like, 5 photos for his mom throughout the night. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Story time about my ex-boyfriend from hell with screenshots. Just a disclaimer, if him or his girlfriend sees this, it's for entertainment purposes. A little background to the story, we got together like 3 days before my 15th birthday, my sophomore year of high school. So very young, first boyfriend, not his first girlfriend. However, everything crazy in this story happens after we break up. The whole reason we did break up is throughout our relationship, he was texting his ex, texting other girls, deleting things, lying about random stuff, and I was just like, no, I've had enough. So eventually, I break up with him. I can't do it anymore. And of course, he freaks out and he's like texting me, he's like, please, I'll do anything. No. Eventually, I had to block his number because he would not stop. Then moving forward, like a long time, I start talking to a new boy. This boy happens to be my current boyfriend. So me and this new boy, we're snapping, hanging out, normal. And this boy also lives 2 states away from where I live. So we have 0 mutuals, 2 hours. Anyways, one time I'm at his house and I start getting like spam calls, like my phone is blowing up. However, it's from like a random number that's not even my area code. So I just ignore it and I'm like, whatever, maybe I'm getting prank called. Then I get home and I get a text and it's the creepiest text I've ever gotten. Actually, there may be a creepier one, which is also in this video. It is a text from this random number that was calling me that's saying, I know where you were, I know who you were with. Not only that, but it was a screenshot of one of those like people finder websites or whatever with the address of the house that I was at and the first and last name of the boy who I was hanging out with's father, the owner of the house. So I'm like, oh, okay, and I blocked this number and I'm like, great, awesome. I know exactly who it is at this point. Then months go by, I think I'm safe, and me and this boy, still talking. And then I get the craziest text of my life. I'll put it here. Yes, you read that. I scribbled out the little bit that has my current boyfriend's name, but you get the idea. How does he know this boy's name? I don't know. Why is he asking a question like this? I don't know. So I'm like, okay, this is not normal at all. At this point, I don't really know what to do, so I kind of just am like, you need to stop, because this boy is also telling me that, hey, this guy's been in my profile views like every day for weeks. So not only am I weirded out, but I feel bad that new boy has to deal with all of it. Then we fast forward a long time, and now we are at senior week. Senior week. Do you remember when this story started? Sophomore year. October of sophomore year. My ex, by the way, did not go to the same school as me. I went to the private school and he went to the public school literally on the same street as mine. But we did happen to be on senior week at the same time. Yay. And this is well after, so I'm literally like, he's not in my mind at all. And while I'm on the boardwalk, because we go to Ocean City for senior week, I run into one of my old friends from middle school. So I'm catching up with her and she's like, hey, there's something you should know. And I find out, he's been talking about me. Great. Apparently, I am the crazy ex who did all of these terrible things. Which I'm like, okay, whatever. Not much I can do about that. But this night, I decide to log into my old TikTok account from freshman and sophomore year, and I check the activity. This crazy ex-boyfriend has been logging into my account, my old account, so that he can stalk my new accounts from like junior and senior year and see everything I'm doing on my account. And I'll put that right here. So those were all the days that he had logged in and searched like the usernames of my new account. And not only that, but I looked through like the watch history and it's just me. It's just me. He's just watching me every single day. So that was weird. And then I ended up calling him and I'm like, you need to stop. Like, stop. This is just creepy. Now, after senior week, I get home and my parents come in and they're like, hey, there's something for you in the mail. I'm not expecting anything. They hand me an envelope and I open this envelope. I literally just broke my nightstand drawers looking for this. Knew I still had it somewhere. It is a full note, which I never really read actually. And also inside this note was $100. Any guesses on who this note's from? You guessed it. Now, I never read this note, but that 100 was great. Anyways, I think that maybe this is the end. He gets a girlfriend who is his current girlfriend. Literally no hate to her at all. I'm very happy that someone is taking him off of my hands. One day, I get a question from a mutual friend about my ex-boyfriend, and it's this girl asking. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. Like, I'll add her on Snap. I'll answer whatever she wants to talk about. So I do, and I show her this because it was around the same time. She tells me they were dating. So, or maybe not dating, but had, like, started dating, like, 2 days later. So it's very messed up. Now, I told her, I was like, I'm not trying to convince you not to date him. I'm just answering your questions. And what happens? I get blocked. I'm just trying to help. I don't know. But then they go about their lives, and I'm with my boyfriend. Everything's great. And then I get a text that he's asking for a promise ring. Yes, I had a promise ring. Who bought that promise ring? Me. I bought that promise ring. So, no, I'm not giving it to you. First of all, I don't know where it is. Second of all, I'm assuming you want it back so that you can give it to your new girlfriend. Which, give her a promise ring. I do not care. Do not give her your ex-girlfriend's promise ring. Why would you give your new girlfriend your ex-girlfriend's promise ring? And I paid for it. So, honestly, that's kind of where it leaves off. But there is my psycho ex-boyfriend from hell, post-breakup. If anybody wants to hear about the detailed stories from when we were together, I will be more than happy to make a part 2. That's all for my story time. I hope it was entertaining.
Get ready with me while I tell you about how my ex-boyfriend got his ex pregnant while we were together. So, his ex was like, they were together for like a really long time. I think they were together for like 2 years, maybe more. I don't know if it was on and off or what. I can't remember. But there was this one day, it was like, because I'm a cheerleader, and I used to cheer for like football, and he was a football player. And there was this one Friday that like, he was, I don't know where, he was like, his location was being weird, he was being weird, and I guess he was with that girl, and they did stuff or whatever, but I didn't find out until he told me, like, I think, like, a day or two after. So, yeah, he told me, like, a day or two after that happened, and he was, like, begging me to stay, and I did. I don't know why I did. So many things could have been avoided. And that day, too, I'd asked him to bring me to Texas Roadhouse because me and my friends was going to go eat after that game. And he was just so mad at me. He was so upset. And he told me that was why. But, like, why are you mad at me for? So that happened. I take him back. And a few weeks later, we're on FaceTime. And she calls him. So he answers the phone. And she literally has a positive pregnancy test in her hand. So he sends it to me, and he's like, he don't know what to do. And I'm like, that sounds like a you problem. That's a you problem. And he got mad at me because I told him that his actions have consequences. She was like freaking out. She was like 28 days late or something. But like, she's lied about being pregnant before to like get back with him, which is really weird if you ask me. But I think it was for real this time, because she was literally freaking out. Like, she actually had the test in her hand, and she even went to the doctors and like took that test. And then I guess it came out positive, and I looked through his phone one day. He told me that like she wasn't and that she was lying. And I looked through his phone one day, and they were like texting. They're like flirting with each other, and I was like scrolling more up, and she was talking about how she had to like go to CVS to take these shots for like her not to have the baby. I've never heard of that before, but I guess it's a thing. And this was at school, so like I took his phone and I tried to put his password in, and it didn't work. And this was at lunch, and we were sitting with all his friends, so the password didn't work when I put it in. So I put in his old password, which is his ex's birthday, and it worked. And I was like, oh. And as soon as I unlocked that phone, he went ballistic. Like, I kid you not, he chased me around the cafeteria. I'm not even kidding. Sorry, I just my nose pierced back in, and it really hurt, but whatever. Anyways, I ended up like taking his phone and bringing it to my classroom, and obviously like he knows where my class at was right across from his. And he like comes with his friends and they're like screaming at me to give him his phone back. And I'm like, he's gonna get it back, don't worry, like give me a second. And they just all going crazy. So obviously it draws attention. And then he's like, bro, I'm about to go get admin. First, I'm not even gonna say anything. So yeah, and then admin gets involved and whatnot, and we get pulled into like a meeting room, and they're like, I don't want to see you guys working together again. I don't want to see you guys together again. Da-da-da, da-da-da. They pulled us aside and had a separate conversation with us, whatever. And this happened like before that I had checked his phone too, and it was like, oh my god, they was like texting inappropriate. I didn't want to see that. And he had told me, he was like that he wasn't in contact with her, like that she wasn't pregnant, that this and that. But then I check his phone and I see something else, and I like went ballistic. I went crazy, bro. And he would get caught and he'd still be like, oh, I don't know, we're not even talking. Like, are you serious? I literally just seen it. It's really just the fact that, like, why are you lying to me? Like, you could just told me that. But yeah, it's not really that much to the story. This was a pretty short story time. I actually just got back from competition and I am so tired. Like, after competition, my mom went to my grandma's house and we was there for like forever, and I was like slumped on her couch. And then I got here, I took a shower, and now I'm doing this and I'm gonna go back to sleep again.
My dad sexually abused me when I was 12, and I don't know what part this is, but in this video I want to talk specifically about the grooming, or the signs that I didn't realise were grooming until I was older. I've mentioned some of these in the videos, but I wanted to do a separate video on this because I've had quite a few messages from girls that seem to be currently potentially going through the same thing. So I just wanted to do like a bit of a awareness video. So one of the biggest red flags for me is that he slept with me every time I slept over. I had a pull-out bed, which was like literally just the like worst like kind of bed on the floor, and he always chose to sleep with me, like cuddled up to me every night, even though I was 12-year-old and I didn't really want to sleep with my parent at that age. He also used to keep our underwear in the same drawer, which I found weird because I was there every weekend, so I don't understand why I couldn't have my own separate clothes. And then one time he told me to go and get my underwear or get dressed or whatever it was, and I went in the underwear drawer and there was a picture of him fully naked just there. And I remember seeing that as a kid and obviously being traumatized. But it wasn't until literally this year when I realised, like, he did that on purpose. Like, I've been a mum for 10 years. There would never, ever be an instance where there is a naked picture printed out of me anywhere in the house, never mind somewhere where my kids could get it. But he kept that picture. Because it was weird as well that I only found it the one time. But yeah, very strange. He still kissed me on the lips at the age of 12, which I understand is okay for some parents' children. I don't kiss my older children on the lips anymore. My 3-year-olds I still do, but he kissed me on the lips. And like I said, that day that he did what he did to me, earlier on in the day, he picked me up and, like, instead of just like a normal peck, it was like a snog, but for like only for like 2 seconds. And he picked me up and then put me down and said, oh, that was weird, wasn't it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it, love? Another time, I can't remember if this was on the day or if it was like prior to it, but we were outside with the neighbours and the neighbours' kids and whatever, and I was doing the splits, and he said, oh, I wish my girlfriend could do that. And I was like, the weird thing is as well is that I knew at 12, as soon as he said that, I stopped. I was literally in the split position when he said that comment, and I got straight up, because even then at such a young age I knew that that was such a wrong comment to make. I knew exactly why you wished your girlfriend could do the splits. The fact that you was watching your young daughter doing the splits and your first instinct went to being sexual with your partner is the biggest red flag ever. In this video, I'm not just going to talk about just grooming, I'm going to talk about him as a person as well, because I think it's very relevant. he was very racist. He was a very, very, very racist person. I so vividly remember being a young girl. I can't remember how old I was, but very, very young, a lot younger than 12, maybe 6, maybe 7, maybe 8, I don't know. And he took me to his work. He used to take me to his work a lot. And he was talking to his friend, and I'm stood next to my dad, and I can't remember exactly how it like started, but they were talking about like being racist or whatever. And then my dad said to me, Carly, what would you do if you came home and said, Dad, this is my boyfriend, his name is Mohammed? And I smiled and looked up at him and I was like, you beat him up? Like, and him and his mate were like laughing and fist bumping, like, yeah. And I think I mentioned this in the other video, but it's funny because I ended up with a boyfriend in high school called Mohammed for 2 years, who was the one that like helped me through like getting over everything that my dad did to me. He was a very, very racist person, not a nice person at all. He beat up all his girlfriends that I know of. Also, since posting these videos, I found out that I wasn't his only victim. I don't like to use the word victim because I'm not a victim. Like, you're just a weirdo. Like, you're just a weirdo who chose to do weird things to me. But I found out that he did things to 2 other young girls, which is wild and shocking to me. Not shocking, but yeah. Obviously, his mum also had said that the reason that he did what he did to me was because he thought that I was my mum, and that he'd said that. But him and my mum hadn't been together for 12 years, and what a disgusting, vile excuse, what a disgusting, vile person. And he obviously used to buy me like anything that I wanted, which obviously I just thought was being daddy's girl or whatever you want to fucking call it. But obviously that is a part of grooming. But that's not to say that if your dad's doing that he's grooming you, because obviously that is just what parents do. But obviously it was just a part of it. He also used to like isolate us both a lot. Like, he used to argue with his girlfriend at the time a lot, and then like come to me for comfort, but in like not an adult way. And he used to slag his girlfriend off to me a lot as well. And he just always used to treat me like a lot older than I was. Of course, another side to the grooming, in my opinion, was when I came on my period. So I only had 1 period until he did what he did to me. I feel like he decided to wait till I came on my period. And then he was just constantly making jokes about my periods. I can't remember all the jokes because obviously I just don't, but I remember one in particular was the Christmas Coca-Cola advert came on, and he was like, ooh, Carly doesn't like the colour red anymore, do you, Carly? And I was like, why? And he was like, because your period. Like, and I was like, that's weird and like gross. And I had no shame in being on my period. I was so happy. Like, I was like, oh my god, like, I'm on my period. Like, I felt like a woman, even though having periods doesn't define you as a woman, but that's just how I felt back then as a child. Like, he was like trying to shame me for it and like trying to make me feel embarrassed, and it's just not cool. It's just not cool. But yeah, they're just some of the things that I can think of. There was probably more. Obviously, I had a dream a few months prior to him doing what he did, and I had a dream that he like full on raped me. And I remember at the time being so disgusted that I had that dream. I was like, what the hell, like, is wrong with me? Like, I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I've always been very, very, very self-aware, but I just thought, what, like, that's just not normal, and I knew it wasn't normal. And now as an adult, I think it was all the grooming that he was doing, that, and my subconscious was telling me, like, you need to get out of this, you need to get away from him, like, this is not okay, this is not safe. But yeah, I don't know how to explain that any better than what I already am. But yeah, they're just a few things of, 1, how I feel like my dad was grooming me, and 2, the fact that my dad is just a shit person. Yeah.
A day in hell as a 21-year-old girl. So it actually started with a conversation that happened yesterday, so let's get into that. Boyfriend comes up to me. He tells me he does not have work tomorrow and that I should also take off of work. I tell him I can't take off of work because I have to open tomorrow. So I say, I'll do you one better. I'll go to work still, make some money, and then get off early, and we can still hang out and do our thing. Him and I come up with a lie together to get me out of work early. The lie is, I'm gonna take my cat to the vet to go get fixed. I go into work, I tell everybody I have to go and get my cat fixed today. It was a last minute thing. His brother decided to bring home a male cat and it has to get done as soon as possible. Everybody believes my lie. Everybody tells me it's okay for me to go home early. Now I'm excited because now I get to go home early. He tells me I should get home at noon. I end up getting off of work at 11. I'm thinking that'll give me enough time to come home, get dressed, take a shower. Mind you, at 9 o'clock in the morning, he messaged me and he tells me he's going to the gun range with his friends. I think that's perfect. That's perfect because now when I get home, you won't be home. I can take a shower, get dressed, and I'll be ready by the time you get home to do whatever it is that you want to do because, again, this was his idea. Anyway, I get off of work at 11 o'clock. As soon as I get off of work, there's a car accident on my road, the road I need in order to leave and go home. Mind you, it is my grandpa coming to pick me up because I do not drive. So now it is me and my grandpa stuck in traffic for about 20 minutes on the same road. 20 minutes on the same road because no car's moving. No one's moving because an accident had just fucking happened. Of course, as soon as I leave work, right? Okay, so I'm in the car, we're talking, we're conversating. You know, it doesn't matter. An extra couple minutes, okay? I can deal with that. While he's in my head taking me home, he says, oh, I'm actually going to take you to my old house real quick. They're moving. I'm going to take you to my old house real quick because we need your help. I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. It's another couple minutes. I can do that. But I still tell him I have to be home, though, because I have to take my cat to the vet. It's a lie, but I'm going to keep it going. I already told everybody else. He says, okay, it'll only take a couple minutes. We get to the house. There's a vehicle there that I recognize. And I say, oh, whose is that? It's your mother's. I know he knew I was pissed the moment he said, I do not talk to my mother. My mother is pretty much not in my life. The only reason she slightly is because of my sister. I know he could see that I was pissed off that it was my mom because he had me thinking that he needed my help or my aunt needed my help because they lived together. No, it was my mom. It was my mom there. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck does she need my help with? He sped off. The same man who told me he would take me home left me with my mother. I'm thinking, whatever. It's fine. I've dealt with my mom my whole life. I can deal with her a little bit fucking longer. I can deal with her for a couple more minutes. I walk in the house. She immediately starts ranting to me about just some fucking bullshit I couldn't care less about. And I'm like, okay, but I really need to get home. My cat has a vet appointment. I'm going to go get her fixed. I'm trying to get home. I'm trying to get home because I'm thinking my man's going to be here or something. She rants. And after about 20 minutes of her nonstop talking, I'm like, okay, but what did you need me here for? What did you need my help with? She says nothing. She just wanted to talk to me and rant to me for a little bit. And I say, okay, you know what? That's fine. I like to rant too. I'm ranting right now. Okay? That's fine. But get me home. She says, oh, I'll get you home after I go take a shower. No. She goes and she takes a shower. Mind you, in this house that I'm in, because they're moving, there's nowhere to sit. There's nothing left in this house except for 3 dogs, me, and my mother. There's nothing there. Okay, so I have nowhere to sit, nothing to do. Just twiddling my thumbs together, waiting for my mom to get done taking a shower to take me home. At this point, I'm so frustrated that I'm like, you know what? I could use a little. So when my mom finally gets out of the shower, we get in her truck, and she starts taking me home. Before we get home, I say, stop at the Quick Trip right next to the house because your girl needs it. So she agrees as long as I pay for her gas and pump it for her. How sweet, right? I agree because I'm not going to fucking argue. This bitch is crazy. So I say, okay, that's cool. Just stop at the gas station. I'll put $10 in your tank. That's all I'm giving you, though. And I'll pump it for you. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. Okay? Your girl needs her little drink because I'm over today. Someone just walked in. Got a little distracted. Anyway, from what I remember, because I'm not going to go back and rewatch this whole video, she had me get out, she had me pump her gas and pay for it. I agreed, whatever, I don't give a shit. I need my little alcoholic beverage because today has been a shit show. So I go into the gas station, I get my little drinky drink, pay for her gas. She ended up pumping her gas by herself. All right, cool, good. It's cold outside. I don't want to pump your gas. She pumps her gas herself, I pay for it, whatever, I don't care. I get my drink. I'm ready to be home at this point. Home, right down the road. We're at Quick Trip. My home is right down the road. She finally gets me home. Okay, she finally gets me home, and I'm like, I'm so excited to see my man. I'm so excited to just rant to him and tell him about everything that has went on in my day that was not supposed to happen. Also, mind you, I'm a little bit weird, and if plans don't go exactly the way plans are supposed to go for me, I lose my shit. Plans were not planning today. They just weren't. So I get home, and I already knew my man was not going to be here yet, okay? I already knew that. Okay, I already had that in my head. I already had it implanted. I got home about 12:30-ish, okay? Got off of work at 11. Didn't get home till 12:30. My work is 10 minutes up the road. I get home, and I immediately message my man, and I'm like, so when are you going to be home? Because I only got off of work today because of you. This was your idea. No answer. So I call him. No answer. So I sent him another message, and I said, I've been off of work for 2 hours, ... because at this point it is 1 o'clock. Still nothing. Whatever, he'll be home soon. Or will he? I decided I'm going to go check his location, because he's got to be on his way home by now, right? Because it was 9 o'clock in the morning that he tells me he's going to the shooting range, okay? It's been hours. So I'm like, he must be on his way. So I go look at his location. He just got to the shooting range at about 12:50. He had just gotten there. So now I'm like, why the fuck would he beg me to get off at noon just to not even be home? It is currently 2 o'clock. I was supposed to get off of work today at 4. I haven't gotten paid for any of this fucking bullshit I've just been through all day. I'm not going to get paid for it. So now I'm mad. Because what the fuck? All I want to do right now is just continue messaging him and make his ass come home, because this was your idea. You told me to get off at noon. You told me to be home at noon. You told me it was because you wanted to hang out with me. Now, mind you, this is a man who never says that. This is a man who I beg to hang out with because he's always doing something else with other people. So I'm like, can we hang out? But I didn't have to do that this time because he came to me. But it was a lie, because he's not here. It is almost 2 o'clock. It is almost 2 o'clock. No, it is 2 o'clock. It was almost 2 o'clock when I first started making it. It is 2 o'clock. Where are you, Pookie? Yep. Didn't think I was going to have to crack my little alcoholic beverage until later, but it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Cheers, guys. I'm going to go get drunk now. Oh, and please let me know if I am allowed to be mad at him or not for not being here. I even gave him time. I wasn't even mad until now, and now I'm pissed because absolutely nothing today went the way it was supposed to, and the person who literally came up with this idea for me to get off of work early and lie to every single fucking person I know in order to get off of work early is not even here where he told me to be at a specific time. Yeah. Thanks, guys. He just called me, guys. He doesn't know why I'm being like this. I'm so dramatic and I get mad over nothing. He said he'll talk to me when he gets home. He's not done at the shooting range. He's not done hanging out with his friends. He'll talk to me when he gets home, though. I'll keep you updated. He just messaged me. It's almost 2:30. 2.5 hours from the point where he told me to be home. He only just now said he's on his way home, and he asked me how my day at work went. I did not answer. He is left on open. I'm not dealing with it until he gets home. I'll make a separate video if you guys are curious what happens now.
Story time. And I don't do story times. I don't make videos. I don't record myself like that anymore. But I just wanted to get this out there in hopes that it reaches the right person. Yesterday, I was at the mall in Bakersfield, California, and I was in Abercrombie. I went in, asked for a dressing room. There was 4 pairs of jeans, 2 vests, and a skirt that I was trying on. Anyhow, nobody was really in the store when I went in there, so I asked a young girl worker if I can get a fitting room. She put me, if you're familiar with this mall, there's 3 fitting rooms on a back wall. Anyways, she lets me into a fitting room. I go in there, I start doing my stuff, I'm changing or whatever. A few minutes went by, And right outside my door, I heard like two men talking. And it kind of like tripped me out because they sounded like they were literally right outside my door. So as I'm putting my clothes back on, I still hear these guys. Tell me why I look up, and over my door, I can insert pictures, as I just need to learn how to do it, and video, because I did take it. I look up, and there is a guy on a ladder above my dressing room. So I look up because he's talking to another gentleman who's on the floor by the ladder, but he's up on the ladder fixing a light in the ceiling. And I look up and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm in this fitting room, like, and it just dawns on me that this man is on a ladder above my fitting room. So while I'm changing and trying clothes on, he can clearly see into my fitting room. Clearly see into my fitting room. My heart sank because I was wearing a shirt yesterday that didn't have a bra. I couldn't wear a bra with. And so when I was undressing, I was like literally fully naked. And instantly I was super upset. I just felt like I didn't know whether he looked or not. I didn't know if he seen me or not. It was just kind of like, if he looked, he definitely seen me. But I don't know if he did. So I see the girl that let me in the fitting room, she had a pair of Nikes on, and they were like silver. I know they're popular, but I don't know the name of them. But anyways, I see her feet kind of by the fitting room, and after I'm fully dressed, I open the door, and she's standing right there. And I looked at her and I said, are these guys really doing work above my fitting room on a ladder while I'm changing in here? And she looks at me and she says, yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. And I just instantly was fucking fuming. I said, what do you mean there's nothing you can do about it? Yes, there is. You work here. You let me in this room. You could have easily told those guys to wait until the customer came out of the room that was trying clothes on. Or you could have knocked on the door and told me, hey, ma'am, there's some maintenance workers going to do some work on the light above the fitting rooms. I'm sure you don't want anybody looking at you if you want to just come back out and wait until they're done. Like, you don't just allow men to get up on a ladder above fitting rooms where there's women in there changing, possibly young girls, anybody, and just think that there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I was pissed. And I slammed the fucking door. And I sat there for a second because I was shaking. I was crying. I was just upset. I felt so violated. Like, what the fuck? Like, what just fucking happened? Like, so I put my clothes on. I just leave everything in that fucking fitting room and I walk out. I go into another store. I'm shaking. I call my husband. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I know this is fucking wrong and something needs to be done about it, but I don't know what to do. Like, do I go back in there and complain? Do I go complain to the, if there's an office for the mall here? Like, I understand if that girl didn't have any control over if those were mall maintenance workers, right? But the mall itself, having workers that are men and that are maintenance guys, like, I'm sure there's fucking protocol to these men coming in stores where it's clothing. So we're mostly every freaking store where there could be women, little girls, changing. Like, so I went into Express. I was visibly upset. The lady came to ask me if there was anything I needed, and I just said, hey, can I ask you a question? And I basically told her the situation, and I asked her, like, can you, like, tell me what I need to do? Should I go back into that store and speak to somebody? Do I go to the mall, freaking look for the mall office and try to make a complaint there? Like, I don't know who is in the wrong here. But I do know that I went into Abercrombie, so I feel that it's up to that store to take care of their customers or whatever. Like, so she told me, if you can gather yourself up and go back into Abercrombie and get the names of the people and ask for a corporate number, you should probably start there, and then possibly take it to the mall office and complain there, because realistically, like, those men, if they do maintenance on a mall, if that's their job, they should know that they should fucking have to wait to get on a ladder outside of a fitting room where there could fucking possibly be anybody in there changing. Not just a man, not just a woman, not just a child, but any person changing. It's an invasion of privacy. So I'm making this video to just tell women, be aware of your surroundings, women, girls, kids, anybody, like, and to also put it out there, because I've reached out when I went back in there to the worker. I did go back in there. I gathered myself. I went back in there and I asked. There was a guy at the counter now, and then the girl was standing behind the counter. And I went in there and I asked for both their names and a number to corporate so that I can call and make a complaint. The guy asked me what happened, and I told him that girl clearly knows what happened, and if she hasn't told you, she should. But at that moment, I explained myself, and I have a video of it kind of cut off at the end because I wasn't trying to record their faces. I was just trying to record the situation and how it was going to go down. But I explained to him everything, and I just said, it's unacceptable. Like, there's no excuse for it. And even if those men went in there and set up the ladder without any employees knowing, because they don't work for Abercrombie, still, it's your guys' responsibility as the workers of the store to make sure that shit doesn't happen. Like, it was a Thursday. It was like, I don't know, 11:30 in the morning. Like, the mall was not packed. There was maybe one other person in that store. So she could have taken care of me. Like, she could have made sure that I was okay, because she's the one that let me in that freaking fitting room in the first place. So they give me their names. They give me the number, and it's a customer service number. Like, I don't want to call customer service. I need to talk to somebody above that. Like, I don't need a fucking 20% off. That's not going to make the situation right. I want them to take accountability for what they did and know that it's fucking wrong. And at any point, like, they're responsible for allowing a man to possibly had seen my whole freaking entire body. Like, it's not okay. It's not right. And something needs to fucking be done. All I got was, I'm the manager, but I just got here, so I'm barely finding out what's going on. Like, that's not my fucking problem. I'm sure a manager opens up that store, not just this little girl. So even if it wasn't you here, I'm sure there's a manager behind you that knew what the hell was going on. That little girl looked scared when I freaking slammed the door in her face because I was so fucking angry. She knew that there was going to be issues from that, because at that point in her face, she looked shocked. So she knew that something was fucking wrong and that she fucking screwed up. So if Abercrombie sees this, or if you guys can fucking tag Abercrombie, and I need to hear something from somebody. Like, I'm not going to fucking stop here. I was violated. It's not fucking okay. And I want to fucking make sure that this happens to nobody ever again. It wasn't fucking right. And a fucking sorry isn't just going to fucking fix the situation. I'm glad it was me and not a fucking little girl, because she wouldn't even have fucking known. So pay attention to your surroundings. And again, I'll be waiting for somebody to fucking contact me so I can fucking get to the fucking bottom of this. Thank you.
I always hear people say stuff like, ugh, this ruined my mood, that ruined my mood. I just ruined my own mood. I just do it myself. Listen, I'm a DIY girl at heart, okay?
Hi, my name is Saber, and when I was 19 years old, my high school sweetheart tried to end both of our lives, and I don't want to talk about that situation specifically. It is a very traumatic one, but leading up to it, there were a lot of red flags that I didn't know to look for, because, you don't know until you know, and I think it's important that young girls know what to look for, so I wanted to make a video on the red flags that I personally ignored. The relationship started out pretty normal, except that I guess he had been stalking me for quite some time. I'm the one who talked to him, but when I did, he was like, I had been walking in front of you before lunch for days and days trying to get your attention, and you never noticed. He wasn't in my grade, so I had never seen him before. He was above me. But he asked me out, and he was very kind. boyfriend, I thought. He was very possessive, very, very scarily obsessed with me. He would write me like love letters, both on paper, on my Facebook wall, in like my messages, my text messages. He would leave me voicemails. He was very, very, very in love with me, and I really, really liked that. That made me feel very special after feeling ugly my whole life. Also, I want to add that I was like a shy, awkward, not a conventionally attractive kid either. So it's like this boy who was very attractive, he was an attractive boy, found me attractive. Like that really gave me this boost of confidence, and I was very, very surprised he liked me. But looking back, it makes sense that he picked a very meek, shy, awkward girl who wasn't going to fight back. Right away, he was very controlling of everything that I did. He used to tell me that I couldn't wear makeup and I couldn't dye my hair, and he didn't like girls who did that, and they all looked trashy. And his girlfriend wasn't going to look trashy. She was going to look classy. And I just accepted that because that's something that I thought was normal, that men just tell you what they like and you just do it. Don't know why I thought that. He also did drugs. He smoked weed or whatever in high school, and he was very adamant that I was never allowed to do drugs or drink or go to parties or anything like that. And I know you're like, why would you listen to him? You have bodily autonomy. But especially, like, he chose the right girl, especially back then, like, in high school, all you want is to be loved. All you want is attention. You don't care how you get it. There was one instance when we were in a library, a public library, and he wanted to see what people would do as a social experiment if he was, like, being threatening or aggressive to me. And he did, like, yank me around, and he was like, come here. Like, I don't know why I let him do that to me, but it was a weird thing. And I was like, this guy is being weird right now. But we had already been together for, like, 6 or 8 months at that point, so I was like, whatever, dude. And nobody helped me. Nobody thought to, like, intervene or anything. It was a public library. Lots of people were there. Lots of people saw him like yank me by my like backpack and like drag me out of the door, and they didn't say anything. And he was like, that's crazy. Nobody would intervene. Looking back, that's a huge red flag. Why would I let him do that? I don't know. And he was always giving me so much love, and then he would take it away for days. He would shower me with love, with gifts, with like letters, with everything, with attention. And then he would go silent for 2+ days, and he wouldn't talk to me. And then I would just be begging him and texting him and calling him and like, please, what did I do? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? I miss you. I love you, please. And then he would just come back and be like, I just needed a couple days. Is that okay with you? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I'm being crazy, aren't I? And he's like, yeah, you're being crazy. Like, I didn't realize that, like, I don't know, that's a manipulation tactic, and that it's not normal to go silent for days. Communication is key. If you want to go silent for days, that's fine. But to not tell your partner and to leave them like begging for your attention is very manipulative and abusive. There was another time where I used to have like male friends in high school, everything platonic. I was in love with this boy. I would have never talked to anyone else. But I had one friend who was a lot taller than me. He gave me a hug, and it lifted me off of my feet for a second. I didn't think anything of it. It literally was a blip in my memory. And then after school that day, I saw my boyfriend, because he had already graduated, because he was older than me. He was storming up to the high school because he lived across the street. And I thought he was coming to pick me up. I was like, oh, what a great surprise. My boyfriend's here. But he singled out the guy because he was standing outside with me because we were both car riders. And he like grabbed him by his collar and like started threatening him. And this is a grown adult at this point. And this kid that he was threatening was a year younger than me. So 2 years younger than him. And he's like threatening him. He's like, I heard you touched my girlfriend today. I heard you picked her up, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was so hot, dude. I was like, ooh, aggressive. He really loves me. He really wants me. Obviously, I like didn't think it was cool that he was being so mean to my friend, but I was like, that is kind of hot. It's not. That's a red flag. He was very possessive over me. And the fact that he even knew that happened was crazy to me, because I hadn't thought about it until after I went home that day. And I was like, somebody told him. And I'm like, is he having his friends look at what I'm doing during the school day? That's crazy. Because like, this is back in the day. There's no way he's like spying on me with some sort of technology other than people. So he's just asking people what I'm doing. He's just keeping tabs on me. And he treated me poorly for like a whole week after that. He didn't talk to me for days. And when I was like telling him I loved him, he was like, I don't really love you that much. Like, what? Very, very, all red flags, obviously, no. And I gotta say this, the toxic level of jealousness that is not attractive. That is not something that you should be looking for or should be romanticizing. It's not funny. It's not cute. I don't think, like, nowadays, if there was a man that was that obsessed with me that he would be this crazy, I would leave him immediately, because that is a bad sign. This boy we would be driving on the highway, and some guy would look at me, not even intentionally, probably just changing lanes, but he would make eye contact with me in the passenger seat. And I remember this one time, He literally chased these two men in a work truck all the way down to wherever they were working. He hopped out of the car. He was trying to fight these men. He was like, "You're staring at my girlfriend." And they were like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." Genuinely, they didn't stare at me. I don't know what he was talking about, but he was insanely obsessed with me. But even after that, I was like, that was kind of hot. Ditzy stupid. Right before the abuse started, we had just moved into an apartment across town. We had been together about 3-ish years. He had proposed. I said, no, I want that noted. But he had proposed to me, bought me a ring. We moved in together, and I really wanted a cat. I am a cat lady. I love kittens. And I kept asking him, can we get a cat? And he kept saying no. And I'm like, you know what? I'm an adult at this point. I am 18. I pay rent here. I'm allowed to get a cat if I want a cat. So I went and I got a cat off of Craigslist, and I brought it home, and it was a little tiny kitten. And he came home that day and lost his mind. I've never seen him like that. His eyes like turned black, and he literally threw the kitten against the wall. I called the cops. I was so upset. I obviously kicked him out. I was like not okay with it. He worked his way back in because that's what abusers do, but he said that he was very sorry and that he just thought the cat was going to take me away from him, that the cat was taking too much attention from me. As soon as he saw how much I loved the cat had to go, which is terrifying because what if we had a kid? What if I had gotten pregnant in that 3.5 years? But I did let him back in because he started therapy. He promised to go to anger management. I still had the cat. The cat was okay. I took him to the vet. Like, no broken bones or anything. He didn't throw him that hard, but it was just like the fact that he tossed the kitten like really upset me, obviously, as it should, but I still let him back in, and that's my own fault. He never hurt the cat again, I want that noted, but he did start hurting me very badly, to the point where he went to jail for the things he did to me in that apartment, and he tried to end both of our lives. But there were so many things leading up to that could have been like, Saber, this is not okay, this is not normal, but I didn't talk to anyone about those things in my relationship because I was embarrassed a little bit. I didn't want to be told that these were wrong things. I was in love with this boy too. Nobody could tell me that he was the wrong guy. Even after I got a restraining order, I was still trying to see him because that's what abuse does to your brain. Especially after years and years of it. We were high school sweethearts and we moved out together. But I do think had I known in the early stages, I would have just broken it off then. And after that relationship, I started being more careful about who I was talking to, and if there was even a little red flag, anything that even stood out a little bit that was like, this guy could be an abuser in the future, I just cut him off, block him, no thoughts, because there's no reason to even start that relationship if I think that there's a possibility. Anyway, I don't know if that's helpful to anyone, but I hope it is. You should all stay safe out there. Anyone can be an abuser, women and men. Just watch for the red flags.
Why is it that even when I get off professional phone calls, I can't help? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Amaya. I wanted to make a video and talk about what happened to me a few years ago. Well, yeah, it was a long time ago, I guess. With my dad and his family. I've been holding it in, and I never got justice for what happened. He never paid any consequences. The family didn't. I can't keep living with all these like feelings from what happened. I was living with my dad at the time. I had 2 sisters and a brother, and a stepmom. My dad was married. My stepmom went on a girls' weekend. It was just me and the kids and my dad at the house. I remember I got into a huge fight with my boyfriend. I think I was 17, 18 at the time. And I remember being really, really, really upset, and my dad came to comfort me, and I was still fairly new to having like a dad figure in my life because I had barely just met him a few years before that, and that's like a whole different story. But yeah, I was in a really bad state of mind, I guess, and he came to comfort me, and he proceeded to touch my breast while I was asleep. And just stopped touching me. I quickly left. I called my boyfriend at the time because I just wanted to leave and he couldn't come get me, but locking me in my room. And my dad, the next morning, acted like nothing had happened. I didn't know what to do. I kind of just kept it to myself. And then we used to go on these family camping trips every summer. In August, it was like we go out camping with like the whole entire family for like a week. And during that time, I was putting on. I had my younger sister, help me tie the back of my bikini top. And I saw my dad looking. I felt just awkward and off. And I remember I wanted to tell somebody at that point. So I went up to my stepsister's, my stepmom's sister, because I thought she just sounded like she was someone I could talk to that would actually like listen and, you know, help me. She ended up telling my stepmom and my dad and their family friend, which is like a whole other person I don't want to get into. They like brought me into this trailer and started like telling me that like I was lying and why would I lie about all this, and I'm so like effed up and all this and that, and I'm just like my mother and all this. And granted, my mom's she's not a bad mom. I love my mom. And just like all this stuff and just making me feel really bad, like really shitty for telling the truth about what had happened to me. And I should have reported it. I should have went to the police, but I was so scared. I don't know why. I just can't. He ruined a part of me that I would never get back. I still can't do things to this day. I can't. There's things that fog up my mind and stuff. I just needed just to tell my story, because I want everybody to know that even if you went through something or if somebody hurt you, speak up. Speak up about it and get justice for yourself. And that's okay. It's okay. I wish I would have done something about what happened to me. But forget if people call you liars or if they don't believe you, if they try to do it. Speak your truth. Speak your truth, because your truth matters. It matters. Not only to you, but to God. It matters. And I guess that's it. Yeah. Thanks for listening.